food and all the things we do. America generally does things first and we do things second. But a recent export from the United Kingdom to America is a young couple.
Okay.
They were part of the royal family. They were their Royal Highnesses. They're now just the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. And we've exported them, Candace, to you. And they're living happily on the west coast of America. And it would seem that after the quite shock cancer diagnosis of the King, that Harry only spent 24 hours in the country, a half-hour meeting.
Stop it.
With his dad, no reconciliation with his brother, and he's coming back to you in America. Are you pleased to see him return?
We are not pleased to see him return. We certainly were not pleased to see him here at all. I was very content with them being put in Canada, but I obviously knew that they would end up in LA because that was Meghan's dream. Her dream was to be an A-lister, and she was unable to make it to those A-list parties.
Wait for it.
The basis of her own merit as an actress. You know, she wasn't a very good actress, and so she figured out how to maneuver that by marrying a prince who, the only way to say it is, he's just not as intelligent as her. He's not reading the situation as clearly as other people are reading it, and he has been subjected to her manipulation. And I do also want to say this because it's really important of why their story became so big. And
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
You know, her using the Black Lives Matter movement, which was very big at that time before people started to understood that really what they were advocating for were Marxist principles. It's why she became the princess of BLM, because, you know, what's one of the biggest principles of Marxism?
Stop it.
The breakdown of family. Black Lives Matter on their charter stated that they wanted to deconstruct the nuclear family. Well, Meghan Markle wanted to deconstruct a family, right? And she was going to pretend that it was for something noble, racism. It wasn't so. It was really because she wanted fame and she wanted wealth. And, you know, I don't want to say that Prince Harry was an unwitting participant. I think he obviously is not as smart as her, but also he liked the fame and he liked the attention in a certain way as well. And we had a very, very, very sad circumstance that played out here. So I'm not entirely shocked that he didn't spend that much time with his father. I have not been holding my breath for them to unify as a family, because some of the things that were done, you know, quite literally selling your family for profit, it's unheard of. But it's a Marxist belief that there's something more noble. There's something that the state wants you to believe in that's more noble. And in that circumstance, it's racism must be fought.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
But in reality, what's buried underneath is a state incentive to make people disloyal to the people that they should be the most loyal to. So no sympathy for Prince Harry, but a lot of sympathy for King Charles.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult for the Queen to forgive him. It's very difficult for William and Kate to forgive him, given the awful things he wrote about them in that book, Spare. I guess if he was to apologise, then forgiveness might follow. And there were certainly some in this country, Candace, hoping for reconciliation.
Stop it.
But, you know, your thesis is that basically she's using him. She's using the fact that he's a British prince, and it's all about her. Now, what I'm interested in, is it just about money? Because they appear to have been paid a lot of money, in many cases for not producing very much content. Is it just about money and fame? Or do you think, Candace Owens, that somewhere within Meghan there are political ambitions?
Very good question.
I actually don't believe that there are any political ambitions there, mostly because she's simply not well liked, right? And she's not a very good actress. I saw right through it from the very beginning when she was pretending she was going to stay in the royal family.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
I was the first commentator that said, this woman is going to make it back to Los Angeles. I just saw her coming. So she's not that shrewd. And unfortunately, right now, that sort of politicking is not finding a home in America. We don't want bad faith actors. We don't want a bunch of people that are going to opine about racism and sexism and misogyny. We want people that are being honest about the fact that we have a lot of issues in this country, and we're not going to beat them by hating one another. And So she's not a perfect fit. Like I said, she caught a moment, and there was very much a government incentive to cause so much division with BLM. But she's not going to run in politics. She's very happy where she is, in a multi-million-dollar mansion, lunching with Oprah. That was her dream, and she got it.
No, you may be right. I mean, I must admit, I'd always thought there was a political ambition, but maybe you're right. And yet, you know, when it comes to whichever company they work with, Netflix, whoever it is, they've been paid all these large sums of money to produce little content or a load of rubbish. At what point does Los Angeles wake up and say, you know,
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
what? These guys are no good.
I think that's starting to happen now. I mean, the executive over at Spotify pretty much said that these are a bunch of lazy people with bad ideas that feel entitled to money. It's the ultimate entitlement is what you're taking a look at. And I don't know if any person listening to this program actually took the time to listen to the podcast that she produced on Spotify. I did. It was a source of great humor for me. And I played some of those tidbits on the show. It's weird. It's raspy. It's her talking about her dreams, talking about, you know, the patriarchy and feminism and just all of the buzzwords that get you invited to the right parties in LA. But there's no substance behind it. And as I said, the reason why it failed is because people want authenticity. And unfortunately, they aren't getting that from this couple anymore. So they're just going to keep being shuffled from award show to award show, given awards for basically doing absolutely nothing but acquiescing to a government narrative. It's quite pathetic, and it's sad because Harry was so well liked. You know, he was kind of like the bad boy prince. People liked him because he seemed so authentic, and now
he was loved.
He really was.
Yeah,
he was. I loved him.
He was the good looking. He was good looking. He was. Oh my God! He was charming. He did his tours in Afghanistan. He was in the front line. He was fun. He had lots of pretty girlfriends. He'd go down to the pub. He'd do things Candace, that most young lads. Are you serious? Either do or would like to do. I think actually, and I remember asking my daughters when they were teenagers, early teenagers, what they thought of the royal family. And they both said, oh, the royal family, it's so cool. Oh my God! Now, I'd never thought of the royal family as cool, but Harry did make it cool, didn't he?
He did make it cool. And then all of that went away and he became very whiny, and he went the way of what we call modern psychotherapy, where therapists sit across from you and tell you that every little thing that ever happened to you makes you a special victim, and no matter how horrendous. Okay, so the first installment of Harry and Meghan, which is obviously Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's new Netflix documentary, premiered last night, and I did not watch it because I didn't need to watch it. I knew exactly what was going to happen in this documentary series. I actually told you guys last week what was going to happen because Meghan Markle is just the most predictable person in the entire world. She's very predictable. I knew,
wait for it,
throughout their entire relationship, because I do believe that she is an emotionally abusive person, that she is embarking on Freudian transfer. She is using a real childhood trauma that Prince Harry suffered from, losing his mother, and she has used it to further harness him to her and their relationship. She has convinced him, he actually believes that Meghan Markle is Princess Diana, okay? So in case you missed it, the documentary, it turns out Meghan Markle is Princess Diana. That's what she wants you guys to know. She is Princess Diana, and fortunately for Prince Harry, this time, he got to save his mom. I mean, how sick is that? Me even saying that, it sounds so sick, but this is actually what is taking place. So here are some quotes of what he said, and the reason why he responds to Meghan Markle's compassion and, quote, warmth is because it's just like his late mother. This is from Prince Harry. Quote, so much of what Meghan is and how she is so similar to my mom. She has the same compassion. She has the same empathy. Oh my God! She has the same confidence. She has this warmth about her. That is disturbing on so many levels. It's disturbing because this is something that I didn't want to be right about, but it was so obvious. And it was one quotation that she had given a while ago where she said that
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
she was I think she was about 7 months pregnant, and this is when they were still within the royal family. And she said that she told him that she was going to kill herself, but she wasn't going to do it. But she knew, like, while he was gone, he was at some event and he got home, and she said, I was going to kill myself, but I didn't do it because I didn't want you to suffer the same thing that you suffered with your mom. She actually came out and said that she said this to him. So I'm picturing a woman that is 7 months pregnant with somebody's child and saying, I was just about to kill myself, but I know what you went through with your mom, and I didn't want you to suffer again.
Are you serious?
And that obviously triggered, because it's so emotionally abusive, it triggered Prince Harry, and that became the reason that they left the royal family. And any person, as somebody tweeted, or actually earlier today, they said, I don't see how any person can watch this documentary and not feel extreme compassion for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And I don't understand, if you don't feel compassion, you have a heart of stone. I'm paraphrasing, but that was essentially the tweet. And I have tremendous compassion. I have tremendous compassion for any person that is in an emotionally abusive relationship, so emotionally abusive that they have successfully isolated you from your entire family. It's not normal. There is no relationship that you should be in that should isolate you from your entire family, okay? And the fact that he is in one, that she is convincing him that their extreme gaslighting of the world is not taking place. Remember, they left, they issued statements, and they did interviews all about the pursuit of their own privacy. That's all they ever wanted. What extreme gaslighting? That,
Wait for it.
everything that they have done since they left has been public. You do not pursue your privacy with Oprah. It's just not how you do it. You just don't do it in a sit-down interview with Oprah. And I would believe that truly they just wanted to help people by sharing their story if they weren't being paid $100 million to do it, right? If they were just about wanting to share their story, they'd be going around and doing charity and speaking to people that are dealing with issues and
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
forms of emotional abuse within their own families. They are doing this for money while gaslighting you and trying to convince you that they're doing it because they have a heart and they have compassion. The only person that you should feel bad for in this story, and allow me to remind you that he also lost his mother, is Prince William.
Was instructed to call Harry and Meghan Sir and Ma'am.
I know.
So if anyone thinks these two are just going to get back down with the rest of American civilians, and, you know, Meghan's going to forfeit showing up in a glamour shot with a $3,000 Hermes coat while she's meeting wounded warriors. I mean, these two continue to dig their own holes.
Okay.
It is unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, here in America, I consider it one of the greatest pieces of performance art we've got going.
And you know what? I think they lost most Americans, Sarah, when they came up with this obviously cock and bull story about being chased around New York at 100 miles an hour for 2 hours. Anyone who's been in New York knows that's impossible. The traffic doesn't move. You were dying to get in there, so.
Well, I was. It's the point about the dining out on the royal connections.
Are you serious?
They were heavily criticised for the use of the Sussex name.
Yeah.
They're going to take it as a family name. Look, Harry was Harry Wales. George and Charlotte and Louis, before they became the Waleses, were the Cambridges. So there's nothing new about
Why do you want your kids to have a
Very good question.
royal title
But
when you believe the monarchy as an institution has caused you such irreparable damage?
Well, I agree with that, but I also find it interesting that Archie and Lilibet will be known as Sussex, because actually it's a far less royal-sounding name for an American market than Mountbatten Windsor.
Yeah, but it goes for their Duke and Duchess, right?
So I understand that Harry's issue was with the institution, and I know that you keep referencing that he's trashing his father and trashing his brother, but I think we also need to be
We're not
fair.
referencing it.
Well,
What is he doing? That's what he's done.
I think we also need to be fair. It's right that Harry hasn't hidden behind the "and a royal source" reports, because we know that that's what happens. Very often stories are in the papers about the Windsor House or the Sussex House or the Cambridge House, and it's a royal source is reported. Now, Harry doesn't have that to hide behind, but to suggest that there
What do you
are
mean?
stories put out about
What do you mean, Harry doesn't have what?
a royal source.
Oh, please do me a favour.
Scobie.
Please do me a favour.
Now,
Paula.
What I'm saying is,
Paula,
they're not
how do you
hiding-
think we
what
even?
I'm saying is,
How
they're
do
not
you think?
hiding behind
How
that?
do you think
Piers.
People
But
Magazine?
the stories come
How do you?
out.
How do you think People Magazine knew about his fig leaf?
the stories come out.
You know how?
You can't suggest
You know how?
that nobody
Because
is putting out stories against
because
Harry.
his own people
is.
brief just as much as the palace.
Okay, so you're
I've got to leave it there.
You're accepting again what I'm saying.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
I think you should accept I probably know a little bit more, with respect, about the way this
bow
all
to your
works.
superiority,
having been
and that's why
part
I'm
of the
asking
media
you.
for 35
And that's
years,
why I'm asking you.
I can tell
That's
you,
right.
he and his wife used the media just as aggressively as anyone at the palace does on the other side. I can tell you that.
That's my point.
Anyway,
Grateful.
we've got to leave it there. Thank you all very much indeed to my pack and to Maureen over in New York. Much appreciated. Doubtless we will meet again to discuss this. They're never going to go.